Last year we have altogether seen RevPAR growth in the US of some 6%. We have been very fortunate to actually exceed that, to reach 6.5 points, which has enabled us to actually take market share from our competitors. But I think more than that, it's really the transformation of Radisson that's starting to show payback and is reflected well in the numbers that we have.
You've had, you said half of the portfolio now has actually gone through the full refurbishment. That's a lot of hotels. Are you pretty happy with what's been undertaken so far?
Yeah, I'm extremely happy about what the team has accomplished. I mean, a whole brand of 147 properties in the Americas, half of it is still a significant number of 70 hotels having undergone significant renovations. And the result is spectacular. We see it everywhere in the RevPAR numbers and the guest satisfaction numbers and ultimately in the return of investment.
So we're the Radisson Blu in Chicago. This is obviously a hotel that Carlson undertook on a capital upgrade program themselves. How much of a difference has it made having a flagship to go to market with and have for potential owners coming to the business?
I think what we see, and I compare that a little bit to other brands that have most recently undergone refurbishments, remakes and so forth. I think the Radisson Blu plays a very significant role in providing a halo effect for the Radisson brand overall. This property here in Chicago is a prime example of it. And yes, we have invested ourselves directly in it. And it was an investment I would do any time over. A, because of the halo effect it has provided here in the US. The development community and the investors are talking to us about more Blues. As a matter of fact, we have a good pipeline of Blues. And Radisson Blu doesn't come in hundreds. It's selective markets which are supportive of the higher investments through their RevPARs. And so we're looking at converting our own 2 properties in Philadelphia and Minneapolis downtown. We have a couple of others in the making, and St. Martin is there. Mall of America is opening next month. So there's a great momentum around Radisson Blu that has now come to the US. And of course, we benefit greatly from its strong presence in Europe and in Asia. So really a very strong global footprint. And in the shadow of it, if I say that respectfully, we have Radisson emerging to new heights with the undergone renovation projects, the relaunch, the natural evolution to focus around guest experience and services.
With the when you had the sort of the system-wide sort of cleanup of the brand, so to speak, how did that go? Did you lose many properties, and did you pick up quite a few as well?
Yes. No, what we have said from the beginning on is that there's a 3-dimensional strategy to repositioning Radisson. One is we renovate the properties and we go in there with our money and partnering with the existing licensees. We add accretive properties to it, which we have done, and we would take out properties that do not have a future with the brand, either for reasons of financing, willingness, capital gains being a priority for owners. So we've pruned the system to the extent that 23% have left the Radisson system, which in times with economic challenges has been a tough decision to make, because it has been to some extent affecting our revenue stream, of course. But we made that decision very consciously and proactively. It's not been that we've been at the end of the story waiting for people to either or not go with us. We've been approaching our partners proactively and have now come to the point where we're comfortable with the portfolio and the way it's evolving, the willingness to invest to get the last 50% renovated. By the end of this year, we're looking at almost 80% of the Radisson portfolio being completely renovated. And that probably makes it the freshest, youngest brand in North America.
We were talking about it last night. Are you seeing many conversions across from franchising into management over here in the States?
We see increasing opportunities with having gone through this transformation and repositioning, we see an increased interest in Radisson, which after all is a legacy brand. It's a global brand, and we're offering, if you will, two different solutions. One, major gateway cities with a significant capital investment that justifies these markets. And then, if you will, a more mainstream Radisson, which can go in many, many places, secondary, tertiary markets, yet not restricted to not go into resorts, airport destinations, and so forth. So I think we're in a very comfortable place there without diluting our brand equity through a vast of 20-some brands that eventually cannibalize each other.
What kind of targets do you have for Radisson Blu in terms of the US next sort of 3 or 4 years? How many are we looking at?
Well, we still look, and I think it's fair to say, for the opportunity to get a good foothold in New York City, Manhattan. That proves to be very challenging for us. I'm the first to admit that. We have a good project in discussion there, but I don't want to, jinx it, so to speak. So yes, New York City, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, where we have a project which is thereabouts to be hopefully signed this month. But also we see great potential in the big cities down in South and Central America. We are close in discussions with our partners Atlantica and Rila to have a project in Rio. We are talking about a project in Santiago, Caracas, Panama, and the like. So there is absolute great momentum, and as economy starts to stabilize more and more, I think we have a great opportunity to get into these markets.
From a tourism perspective, how important is it to have flagship hotels in the emerging markets of Brazil, China, Indonesia, India, whatnot?
For one thing, these are the markets where we still see investment and construction, lending environment is different than in many of the matured markets. But even more importantly, from a long-term perspective, my view is if you're not going into emerging markets now, if you don't have a strong foothold, you're eroding your future customer base, because this is where the travel growth will come from. We know the numbers from China and India and all these markets. They are in the high double-digit numbers. No developed markets is delivering these growth numbers.
How's the general feeling in the tourism industry over here in the US at the moment? Obviously, hotel chains, I should say, sorry, putting up some really good RevPAR gains second half of last year. Is the outlook quite positive?
I said it yesterday here at our conference. I think we have reasons to be maybe more confident about the outlook. A, because we have improved our product base, and B, because we do see pockets of improvement. But I also want to caution people. We still don't have enough visibility into the markets. There's still a lot of volatility and uncertainty around political environments, tax implications, the sequester, and all of these things which will affect the environment greatly. Great uncertainty still around how the corporate market and the MICE business will. MICE has a longer lead period, so that's even more lack of visibility. But the corporate travelers, which are at the core of what we're doing, is going to be a question mark, and I want to caution everybody to get overly excited about that.
Are some of your concerns about MICE relating to, I guess, the growth of virtual conferencing and whatnot?
I probably have a little bit of a traditional view in this, and we've seen it after the beginning of rebound post 08, 09. There is a significant value attributed to people meeting people in person, face to face, which can't be substituted over a long period of time through video conferencing and all the technologies that we have. Yes, it's a great tool, but it will not substitute, it will only complement, I think, the fact that people will have to meet.
And last but not least, Club Carlson, you've had some really strong growth over here at the moment. How loyal are your guests at the moment, are you seeing growth going forward?
We see great growth going forward, and loyalty is a kind of the flavor of the month topic. on many of the conferences lately, and I think we have a great chance with the number of members. We've grown them significantly. We've surpassed 10 million members now, which is a healthy number. It provides us with a good base and scale, but I don't think that forward-going Carlson is going to emerge in the same discounting war of points, more points, and even more points, because that's not what research shows that matters to the customers. If you cannot deliver on your promise when the people come to our hotels, you're losing out. You are basically putting your credibility on the line, and you're disappointing customers. The end of it is you have disengaged members, and that's not the same as loyalty. So measuring loyalty by number of points or number of members only doesn't get you anywhere. And we are about to redefine our loyalty experience and the value proposition to our Club Carlson members.
What's the feedback been like from staff and from franchisees so far on that?
Very positive. I think the conference here shows that so far. They are applauding the move of Carlson Residor to invest in the business, to invest in the capabilities, almost 40 million in technology and revenue generation structures alone, not to mention the investment in assets, and really Carlson walking the talk of what we said we would do in 2010 in the first conference that launched Ambition 2015. So I think we're in a very strong spot. Our brands are in a very strong position with a good, strong profile, and I think we have the capabilities with our partners to act locally with the local knowledge of what we believe strategically is important from a global scale.